I guess, yeah, I remember standing up for something that I believe in back when I was in high school. There was a huge newspaper article about this art exhibit that opened in Boston. And I remember reading it and not understanding what was going on. It was basically there was a state representative in the article talking about how there was obscene art being shown in Boston, and that our tax dollars should not be funding this horrible artwork. And so I really was curious about it. So I remember I went in and I went to this museum to check out the obscene art because I was just I was really curious, like what was it? What was so bad that it was causing all of this controversy? And I saw the exhibit of Robert Mapplethorpe, and it was the first time I had ever heard of him and his photos. And I remember thinking, gosh, these photos are not that controversial. They were like flowers and big, huge, giant flowers. And then I saw in the back, there was this area where it was, there were these portraits of naked men, and they were, definitely not images that I had seen before, but, I was a 17-year-old kid, and I thought they were really, really interesting. But it didn't freak me out the way I thought. And I remember riding back on the subway to my suburban town, and I just kept getting really angry, and I just got more and more upset about the article that I had read because I felt like it was really, I didn't understand it. And so I wrote a letter to the editor of the city newspaper and put my thoughts down. And it was a little tricky because the state rep who was quoted in the article actually knew my parents really well. My parents were advocates for special needs and the rights of people with special needs, and this state rep had really helped them a lot. So it was, it was kind of scary for me to send the letter in because I knew that I was criticizing what this woman had said and this state official, and I don't know, but I just kind of sent it in thinking they'll probably not even publish it, but they did. It came out in the next week's edition of the paper, and the state rep called my house, and we had a conversation, and it was pretty civil, and I was just so nervous and shaking because I felt like I was really on the spot. But I felt really clear about what I had written in my letter. I felt that, this art was actually really important and really beautiful, and it had affected me when I saw it, and not because it was obscene, but because it was provocative, and it made me think. And I think that's what art should do. And it raised a lot of questions. And I asked this woman when I talked to her on the phone if she had actually seen the exhibit, and she hadn't. She said she refused because she heard about what was in it, and she chose not to, and that was her right. And I said, yeah, it is your right, but it actually was really, it was really compelling, and I encouraged her to not judge and not take funding from artists unless she's actually seen the work. So anyway, she said that she disagreed, and she was glad that I was standing up for my beliefs, and it ended in a very civil way. But yeah, it was a pretty important lesson to me because I did feel good that I had expressed my opinion, and there weren't really very many people from the area I lived who were standing up for that point of view. So I felt like it was important, and it felt good, and it felt very American. So yeah, that's the time I stood up for something that I believed in.